you guys. I am so freaking pumped because today I am joined by my good friend and mastermind buddy, Stacy Tuschl. And today we are talking about how to run killer live events. So for those of you guys who don't know Stacy, she is a high performance coach and marketing strategist, best-selling author and creator of She's Building Her Empire podcast and the community where she helps female entrepreneurs launch, systematize, and scale their online businesses. Crazy thing that I didn't even know about her until today. She started her first first business, not online business, her first business at 18 in her parents' backyard and turned that company into a 7-figure business. And she still runs it today. She's highly passionate about helping women unapologetically be themselves and create a legacy they can be proud of. Boom. Thank you so much for being here.
Hi, Jen. I'm so excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
I'm so pumped. So we have to start a little bit with how you got started in the online space and how you transitioned this 7-figure business to now being an online business owner.
Yeah. So let's go back to the beginning.
Yeah.
So right in high school, I started dancing. So very, very late dancer. Started at the age of 15, super, super late to start dancing. But I didn't know about it. And I fell in love with it when that happened. And when I was graduating from high school, I just didn't want it to stop. I just loved it so much. So I decided, what if I just taught middle schoolers and I didn't have any money. This wasn't a business or anything. So I thought, well, what if I just did it and we did it in my parents' backyard in the summer and we'll just see what happens. And the kids loved it. And then we ended up getting a church in the winter months because I'm from Wisconsin. So, you know, you can't be outside in Wisconsin, not dancing at least. So we ended up, using the summer backyard. And then in the winter, we had this church that gave us their basement for free. And the first year we had 17 kids. And then I kept doing it. And year 3, we had 100 kids still going to my parents' backyard in the summer and then the church in the winter. And it was right around the time I was about to graduate from college. And I decided, okay, maybe this could be my business. I loved it so much. I was still doing it for free. I wasn't charging. It was just me loving teaching and being with these kids and sharing the passion that I was so passionate about. So yeah, it's kind of crazy. And
wow.
At age 21 is when I incorporated the business and said, okay, let's really do this. Let's go rent a space. Let's call it home, really incorporate and do everything, right? Mm-hmm. So now the backyard story was already, it'll be 16 years ago this summer, which is so crazy. We now have 2 locations in the Milwaukee area. I own both of the commercial buildings that we're in. We gross over $1 million a year. We have about 40 employees, almost 1,000 dance and music students now that come to us every single week. And I still have them. People always think like I sold them or got rid of them. No, I still, I don't dance anymore, but it's still something so fun for me. And now my daughters are dancing there, which is kind of cool.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So when did you decide to then start an online business?
Yeah.
Like where did that come?
Right away, one of the biggest things for me that helped me with my business was I went to my first live event at the age of 21. My first year in business, I realized I don't know what I'm doing. Things got a lot harder when I started to bring in money. It was easier when it was free. When I started charging, I'm going, I don't know what to do with this. This is really, really difficult. So I got this postcard in the mail about a live seminar in New York, which is funny. I know that's where you're from. Yep. And I called my mom and said, will you come with me? It's in Brooklyn. I've never traveled by myself before. Like I've never been to New York before. Would you come with me? So we go there and it was life-changing. And it was like the moment I realized I love learning. It was my first moment of, okay, this isn't school. This isn't college. This is just me learning about what I already love to do. And it just took off basically. So my business kept growing and growing and growing. I was taught to delegate. I was taught to, build a team. And then all of a sudden about I'd say probably 3 years ago now is when I start to feel a little bit bored in my business or just not challenged because I have built in 15 years systems and an amazing team of people. And there was smaller amounts of things for me to actually do. And I realized I like to be challenged. I like to be kind of in it, right?
Yeah.
So a couple years ago, I decided, well, maybe there's something else I could be doing in addition to it to help me stay challenged, but not leave that business or sell that business. And I started teaching other female entrepreneurs because naturally they were asking, can I take you to coffee? Can I pick your brain?
Mm-hmm.
I was already having those conversations for free. And I thought maybe I could make this a business and just let's see what happens.
Yeah. So did you have like one person that came into your life and you were just like, I need to do this? Or was it just over time that you?
Yeah. I mean, I remember being at that event when I was 21 thinking, I want to be on stage doing that. Now, at that time, I was barely even having a successful business, let alone thinking I was going to be some expert on stage talking to who knows who's in the audience. But I could see myself going, that looks fun. And I think I've always been a teacher, whether I was teaching dance or, being the captain on the dance team, always leading. I just think I always knew that I wanted to continue leading in some capacity. And to me, that one person on stage speaking, that's what they were doing. They were teaching and sharing and leading. And I love that idea.
I think that's such an important thing to highlight, that you never know who you're impacting. You never know who's looking at what you're doing and making a life-altering decision that I'm going to do what they're doing.
Yeah.
So live events, because you have a physical business, you are a teacher, you were in front of people, being an educator for all of those years, now stepping into doing live events, which you've been doing for a while already. What has that transition been like now, taking the online business and bringing it back to being in person?
Yeah. So first, I love the online space. It's crazy that I really teach more online business owners than I do brick and mortar, because I've got 15 years of brick and mortar, but I just love the idea of what online can do for you and the opportunity it gives you. That, to start a brick and mortar business, it's very costly. And I didn't pay myself for a long, long time because of the overhead and the expenses and the very little profit margin.
Yeah.
So I'm very passionate about online, but at the same time, I know what that physical, like in-person connection can do for people. And, you and I met at a live event,
Mm-hmm.
and we continue to get closer meeting in person, right? I mean, yes, this is great, but it's different when you're just hanging out and you're up till after the conference is over and you're chatting about things you probably wouldn't chat about in the conference. So I just think because I've grown up literally these last 15 years going to events at least once or twice a year. Now I'm a crazy person and I go like once a month.
Yep.
Because I just love them so much. And I felt it was so important to put them inside of my business too, because it impacted me. And I wanted to make sure that I could give that impact to somebody else who maybe needed to see that or hear that or just be in that environment.
Mm-hmm. How soon do you think somebody should start thinking about doing, maybe not a full-blown live event, but just start, because I know you also do little meetups.
Yes.
And do you do them monthly or?
So right now I'm kind of experimenting with it because I don't really know what it is or what it's going to look like, but I'm loving meeting with ladies for lunch or for a glass of wine or just to connect. I don't know about you, but when I'm in a room with entrepreneurs, I like light up. Like that is my time just to engage and talk and learn and share. And for me, it's fun. So I would say it's so much better to start something smaller, whether it's a workshop or a meetup. Number one, it's going to be a lot less expensive because events can be very expensive to put on. Number two, it takes the pressure off, because what if only 10 people show up? What if 5 people show up, right? One of my clients, she decided, I want to do one of these meetups. And she did it. And I think she said 3 people came and she's like, it was okay. It was just a little get together. But she said 2 of them walked away becoming clients. And that is exciting. And the reason that can be so powerful, I mean, imagine if you had 3 people on a webinar. Do you think 2 out of 3 are going to buy? Probably not. I mean, that would be crazy statistics. But in person, it can happen because it just fast tracks that relationship. So they're so powerful.
It's so true. Even recently, I went to a live event in New York. One of the only live events. I feel like there's never good events here. It was Lisa Nichols, and she had us get into a little circle and share our story. And when I got home, I had a message from one of the girls in my group, and she's like, I'm buying a program. I'm signing up. And I was like, wow, that was like the easiest thing ever. But it was really because we need that in-person connection. And so I've been super interested in kind of adding in that element in my business as well. And I think what you're doing is just so amazing.
Yeah.
So
I think take the pressure off of having this huge, 100, 200, even 50 might feel huge. Yeah. Take that pressure off. You could have 5 people there and it'd be amazing. I mean, my client with 3 was ecstatic because she gained 2 clients walking out that door 2 hours later. And then you don't have to worry about a stage and microphones and lighting and photographers and videographers. Trust me when I say it gets expensive. Now they're still worth it when they get expensive, but you can take a little time to get there gradually.
Yeah. And I want to talk more about that. But first, I'm curious, Or do you have any tips on building up a local following first before
Yeah.
you go into a live event?
Yeah.
Before,
So
like full blown.
yeah, and I think that's a great way. Let's talk about that local, because yes, again, I love online. I love that people come from all over the world and they can jump on this live right now from who knows where.
Yeah.
But I do think there is a really big importance of building up a local following. Now, when I say I have a local following, I don't even mean people that already knew me before. I'm saying these are mostly people that I met online that happen to live in Wisconsin, near Milwaukee, near Chicago, saying, oh, I could drive to go see her. So it's so funny because I'm making all these local friends, but we're meeting online, which is so weird, but it happens. So I would say, if you have a Facebook group, if you have your own, first say, hey, who lives within driving distance of here?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you don't have a Facebook group, but one thing you can do in other people's Facebook groups is just say, hey, I'm curious, where does everybody from? Because that's not a threatening comment or question to ask somebody. But now you've opened up those doors, people chime in, and you can go look. I mean, if you're from New York, go see who's from New York and message them and say, hey, I saw you're from New York. Where are you from? And then we created our own Facebook group for the Milwaukee area for people to then jump in there, right? So when they see, okay, there's other people, she's not like some creepy person stalking me, she really has other people doing this, it just feels a little bit better because you may not know them. They might be finding out about you from the first time. But what I'll tell you is it's the easiest way to connect because everybody has this sense of home. And you feel like this big online space and you're like, oh, you're from here? Me too. Mm-hmm. So it's a really easy way to make that connection.
Yeah, it's that instant rapport of, oh my gosh, we went to the same high school. We have like 15 mutual friends. Yeah. That sameness already just.
Yeah, and let me give you a great example. So yesterday or the day before, Lewis House posted on Instagram and he said, I'm going to be in New York City doing something. Here's another event for you. You just said events in New York.
I should go.
So, okay. So he said, if you're in New York, you want to come by for free tickets, like swipe up or sign below. And somebody wrote, oh, I'm in Wisconsin. I wish you would come here. So what did I do? I replied to her on his thread and you can go see it. I said, hey, I'm from Wisconsin too. This morning, who did I get a message from? The girl from Wisconsin saying, let's connect. This is so cool. I had no idea people were local.
There you go.
So easy.
So smart. So, okay. So that's a really good action step for people is to create a local Facebook group, to go out into other Facebook groups, share on their social media platforms and find out where people live and then create a Facebook group. I love that. So simple. And over time, that's totally going to grow.
Definitely. Oh yeah. And don't have this weird feeling of, well, it should be thousands of people or 10,000 people. These will be smaller because it's just within driving distance of where you're at. So who cares if there's 5 people or 10 people? People just want that connection. So they're really great. They're happy with it. Another thing too is with these events, when you start hosting them, it's going to be a lot easier for you to get yeses from people who don't have to drive or fly or book hotels. Mm-hmm. So a lot of times with my event, we have people fly in from all over. Last year we had somebody fly in from South Korea. Like that was the furthest somebody came from. So people are flying from everywhere. But there were a lot of local people in that room that drove there too.
Yeah. Well, I find that most of the big events are in California. Like I'm constantly getting on those beautiful layover flights to get to California to go to these events. And I'm excited that we finally have one coming up in New York for our mastermind. So like, yes, I don't have to travel. This is amazing.
I'm so excited.
But yeah, I think for anybody listening to this, if you live in a place where live events are not happening, that's a beautiful space and opportunity for you to create your own and really start becoming the go-to person in your community. So,
sorry to interrupt you. People will say to me sometimes, but Stacy, there aren't people in my area. I'm the only one doing this in the online space. Yeah. I am telling you, you are not. There is somebody within driving distance. It may be an hour. You may have to both drive 30 minutes to connect. But I don't care how small of an area you live in. There are people in your state in somewhat driving distance from you. I promise you.
Yep. So what are some of your strategies that you've used to market your live events? Because like you said before, live events can become really costly and there's definitely some different tweaks as opposed to launching an online course versus getting people actually to show up in person.
Yes. So you have to keep the excitement going. You have to be able to talk and share about whatever it is specifically. So you can't just say like, come to the live event, it's going to be great. They need more than that, right? They need to know who is going to be there. I don't want to pay and be the only one showing up, right? So I do think it is important when you start to create these events that you just take photos of it, whether it's a quick little meetup, right? Whether it's one table for lunch, I don't care. Just get kind of proof, I guess you would say. Get that proof, because that becomes your marketing, your advertising. That's what you start posting on Instagram. People want to see, oh, wow, that was really cool. I wish I would have known about that, right? Mm-hmm. So we're going to be using, and you'll see this if you follow me on Instagram, but we're using all of our photos from last year's event to promote this year's event, right? Because it's easier to see what it looked like and see the people in the room, watch a video of them connecting, leaving testimonials for somebody to say, okay, I'm resonating with this. This sounds like something I really need, versus me just continuing to say, it's going to be great. You should show up. And, you know, we have amazing speakers, you being one of them. And we're introducing you to our audience, because maybe people know you, but maybe they don't. And I need them to know we've got some amazing people coming, and here are the topics they're going to be talking about.
Mm-hmm. So in terms of speakers, what did you do in order to figure out who you were going to bring in front of your audience? Did you choose your audience? Did you specifically choose?
So I do think it's a good idea in the beginning to pull your audience. Now, this is my third event, so I know what people are liking, what they're expecting. We do surveys at the end of every event, so we get a really great idea that way too. But now I really start to go, I know my audience pretty well. What do they want? What do they need? Mm-hmm. And then I start to look at, well, what am I great at teaching? And I mark those things down of what I want to teach on stage. But then I go, what do they need that it's really not my specialty, right? It's not something I'm going to love to get up on stage and talk about. So then I find those missing pieces and say, all right, I would love, Jen would be perfect on stage. Mm-hmm. Catherine would be great on stage, right? We start grabbing like, oh, Tiffany would be amazing over here. Rachel would do this. So we start to kind of fill in those gaps. So it's complementary and it's not competitive, right? You really want that group of people, whether they're, you know them or not, you want it to feel like you're all such great friends and you have just different things to share and to give, and people will love that.
Mm-hmm. That's such good advice. Now, one thing that I saw that you did, which was so brilliant, because even I'm coming to the event, I'm speaking at it, and I was like, oh my God, so cool. Was you shared, I don't know if it was Instagram stories or Snapchat, but you were sharing some of the behind the scenes of like, hey, this is the venue, this is the coffee shop, this is the hair place down the block that you can go to. So yes. What has been the response of people getting a little bit of more of the behind the scenes?
Yeah, so I do have to give a shout out to Jasmine Starr, because she gave me that idea. And that's just one of those things where I'm like, but do people really care? But I think it's just being more personable, showing like, this is my home, here's where I go do this, and here's where I'm going to get this done, and here's my favorite coffee shop, all of that little stuff. I think, again, people are visual and they want to see, well, where is that rooftop party that you keep talking about? Mm-hmm. Where is, the event going to be held at? And you keep saying it's beautiful and gorgeous. Oh, this is what you mean. This is what it looks like. So I do think kind of behind the scenes, people like to see. And I think it's great to have those professional videos and photos, but I also think it's really great to have you being authentic and walking around town and doing that. People were loving those videos. And Jasmine saw it and messaged me, was like, thank you, this is so good. And people love them. So we actually, kind of weird, but we ended up turning those little Instagram stories and mixing it with our professional video. And we turned it into a little Facebook ad, making sure all of our people are seeing it and doing that, because they love the behind the scenes tour.
Mm-hmm. And I think what's so cool about that is probably one of the biggest objections that you might get for a live event is like, people are like, well, I don't know what it's going to look like, or I'm scared to go there by myself, or am I going to be able to find my way around? And you're basically giving them that inside sneak peek to kind of put them at ease and make them visualize themselves actually there in those situations.
Yeah. And, I saw some other people recently do this too. And it was even like, you do a story of registration. So like the morning of registration, when you walk in the door and you're like, where do I go? Where do I turn? Who do I look at? Somebody did an Instagram story and it was them opening the door and going, all right, guys, so you're just going to walk down these steps and right over here to the left, like Claire's going to be there. She's going to help you. We've got you covered. It really makes people go, whew, I feel better. There's no surprises. I know where I'm going. I'm not going to look stupid. People aren't going to be like, what is she doing? Right? It just puts your mind at ease, because it can be really nerve-wracking going to an event by yourself, but I'll tell you, you make friends so quickly because a lot of people go alone, a ton.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Walking down, hi, Claire.
No,
That would put me at ease. You know, I go to
yeah.
a lot of events now by myself and it's like no big deal. But man, like I was not a frequent flyer when I was, you know, a kid. So I was like, how do I even navigate an airport? You know, in my early 20s, I was like a total travel noob. So I think that's such a powerful tip and not something that most people do or even think about.
Yeah, it's just the unknown. Everything that you don't know is a little scary. So I think when you can put their mind at ease that this is what it's going to be, here's what you can expect. And even the little simple questions like, what should I wear? You know, like little things like that. People want to know because they don't want to show up and look at a place, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that's even another good idea of just doing like,
Yeah,
here's what I'm wearing. Here's what the speaker's wearing. Like dress according to the, this is so funny. Okay. So then when somebody is doing a full blown event, what are some things that you would recommend them having in place? Like you were saying, a videographer and almost like planning ahead for the next event.
Yeah. So one of the big things that's not going to be fun, but you're going to want to know is insurance, event insurance. People don't think about that. Okay. Now that could be a big problem. If you have an event, first of all, most places are going to require that you show proof of that insurance, but maybe they don't and you don't have it and something happens. You may have insurance, but you might not have something where you are actually going to have funds to cover something if it happens at the event. So be careful. So that's something people never think about. I do think photos and videos are key. Like they're so, so important. And I've started to do that more so even with my little retreats. So, and I say little because I mean, my event might be 100 people and a retreat might be 10, but I was in Phoenix and I remember thinking, I don't know videographers or photographers. So would I really get somebody to do this? Would it be worth it? And we hired somebody on thumbtack.com, really easy, really inexpensive, got amazing photos, amazing testimonials, a little, video footage for Instagram and just like a B-roll. And it was so worth the money. People are watching those going, so what is this? How do I get more information? Because again, they get to see it, right? They get to see where you were at, who was there, the environment, the content. Makes it a lot easier to say yes.
I love that. What are some other things? So videographer, insurance, is there any other specific things that were a big surprise to you? Obviously you have a brick and mortar business.
Yeah.
So you're probably a little bit more familiar with kind of the in-person format, but for a lot of people, do you feel like there's any big surprises?
Well, one thing I'll tell you, and I don't think there was a huge surprise for me, but it was because I have gone to so many events. And when I go to events, I might go for content. I might go for connections. I might go just to observe how are they putting on this live event, right? So if you're thinking about, oh, I would love to do an event, you better go to some events. Like you absolutely better have that. So I remember the year leading up to my first live event ever, every time I would go someplace, I would go, okay, they've got coffee, they've got tea, they've got cream and sugar. I mean, little things like that where you wouldn't remember to do that, right? You're not going to think about that. Or I would say, okay, this conference, they included lunch. This one didn't. This conference did this. This one didn't. Because you're not just going to copy somebody's event. You're going to love half the stuff and be like, I think I would do it a little bit differently over here. So I would say be very observant. Take really good notes of what you liked, what you didn't. And I would also say too, spend money where it is going to be noticed. Okay. Because I've said it like a million times already. It can be pricey, right? Yeah. It can be. It doesn't have to be. It can be. And I would say I sometimes see people spend money on things that I didn't even notice they had, but they mentioned it. And then I realized it was there. So just be careful that you're not going overboard on things that people don't really care about, and put the money where your audience actually wants it. And maybe not even just your audience, but when you don't spend money on good lighting on stage, your photos are going to be like just horrible, right? They're not going to even be usable. So you've got to make sure that you're making that marketing decision of, do I have great lights? Do I have a great mic that's hooked up to that audio, that video, or I'm never going to be able to hear what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's such a good point, that the lighting and sound, if you don't have that, there's really no point in getting a videographer or photographer because it's not gonna.
Here is my first aha. Now that we're bringing up the videographer,
the
first time I did it, I hired somebody to come out all day, both days. Second year, same thing. And it was one of the things that I thought was a huge perk that I would say, if you buy this course and you can't make it to the event, you're still going to get a copy of the event. Well, I use Kajabi, and you can see who watches and who doesn't. And like nobody watches the replay of the live event. There's a couple and there's some, okay? But a majority doesn't. So one of the things we did this year was, listen, we aren't doing a big recording of the whole thing. If you want to see it, you better show up, right? Which I think is going to increase our actual show up rate. But then the videographer and photographer, we save a ton of money on that because they don't need to be there 8 hours, 2 days in a row. How many photos can we have of you on stage, right? And right away, they don't look good because you're in the middle of talking and it's like, you're never going to like share that picture. So don't try to get those. Okay.
Yeah.
So I think you can cut that cost down majorly by having them show up during specific times to make sure that they're there to capture what it is you're trying to actually capture.
Yeah. We could do some staged speaking photos at the beginning of the day.
Yes.
Like, look at
on break. Everybody goes to lunch and then you're like pretending to like just pointing, like you need to be smiling. That's the whole point of it. Yeah.
Oh, so good. And I'm curious, in terms of sponsors, is that something that you recommend? Is there like a formula for getting the right sponsors?
Yeah. So this is the first year that we actually are having a sponsor. So this is my third year, and my first year I'm doing sponsors. Now, I think first of all, you just have to remember that sponsors have to have what's in it for them. Okay. If there's not something in it for them, they're probably not going to want to do your event. So I finally felt like we were at a place where we're building an audience, and our audience is investing in themselves, and they are purchasing other things, and they're looking to do more. So Tailwind is actually our sponsor this year.
Oh, nice.
They're sponsoring one of our cocktail parties that we're kicking off with, which is amazing. So, they're providing drinks and appetizers and the rental of this amazing rooftop bar downtown Milwaukee. And I didn't have to pay for it, but we still get to use that as something that we're providing. Now, why would Tailwind do that? Well, because we're going to talk about Tailwind and the amazing things they're doing with Pinterest and Instagram. And you're going to want to check it out. And all of a sudden for them, it's worth it because their ideal client is in that room and they want to be there too. So I would say don't spend a ton of time in the beginning trying to get a lot of sponsors unless you have a following already and you know that it's going to be a win-win for them.
Yeah, that's such a good point. Is there anything specific? So you said with figuring out, okay, I want to use Tailwind because it's relevant for your audience. Yeah. I know a lot of the ladies who I work with are in the health and wellness field. And so they're like, should I get Quest bars to be my affiliate? Yeah. Should I get food people? So is there something specific in pitching that you would recommend or like a big mistake that you see people doing?
So, well, first, the reason we actually picked Tailwind was because we're going to be talking about Pinterest on stage for one of our sessions. Well, Tailwind is something used for Pinterest. So it was going to be really easy to talk about them. And if you're going to listen to what we're going to talk about, you're going to check them out, right? So it's going to be a really good, positioning for them, and they could see that, right? Versus, you're going to be on a sign in the back of the room and we're going to put your flyer in their swag bag. Will they really read it? Will they really see it? Maybe, maybe not. So I think you've got to really say like, what's in it for them? And we also did some pre-event stuff for them where they're going to be in a blog post and we're going to talk about them on our podcast and little things like shouting them out on Instagram. So they're also going to get the advantage of our audience, whether they come to the event or not, which is another great thing, right?
Yeah.
So you got to be strategic. It needs to make sense. I also think it should be something that you love or your audience would benefit from. Don't just say yes because somebody's offering you money, right? Really make sure it's in alignment with what you're doing. Yeah.
And one other thing that I've really loved that you've done is you're bringing all of your speakers on your podcast and kind of promoting them to your audience and really making it a really cohesive, system where everybody's kind of in the inside scoop of what's going on behind the scenes, inviting people in that way.
Yeah. We want to get people excited. We want them to meet you, see you before making their decision. Maybe your one interview with me is something where somebody said, I really resonate with Jen. I would love to listen and meet her in person. And that's the deciding factor on her booking that ticket,
Yes, so true. So how far out in advance do you typically recommend people start prepping for a live event?
Yeah. So I think this comes down to how big are we talking? Are we talking one of those little meetups? Because you could plan one 2 weeks from now and you'd be fine, right? Are we talking a workshop? What does that look like for you? What are you promising? Are you prepping a lot of content? How much time do you need for that? With this big event, we really are planning. I mean, the planning now starts the second this one's over. We already book it for next year and do all of that, which is pretty crazy. But really, we start advertising it about 6 months before it even starts. Yeah.
And when it comes, because I've worked with some people who have done live events, and like I was saying before, it's a little bit different than launching a course or a program, because the ticket sales are probably going to fluctuate and maybe even jump at the beginning and then jump right before the event actually happens. Mm-hmm. So is there something that people should keep in mind as they are selling tickets for their live event?
Yeah. So a couple things. You're so right. This isn't like a 7-day open card close, mm-hmm. and you know how many people are coming. Yeah. You don't. I mean, sometimes we're advertising for months and months and months, and there might be a month where you're going, we didn't sell any tickets, right? Mm-hmm. Because you're right. They do it right away. Maybe there's an early bird special or something like that. I do love having early bird specials because it kind of sets the tone of how many people are really thinking about coming. Because if they are, they're going to want to save that money. So I like early bird specials. I like actually having a real cutoff if you can. Not everybody has that cutoff or wants that cutoff, but I think sometimes people just need to know, like, when do you need to know my final answer by? Right? We need a deadline.
Yeah. Otherwise, they'll just kind of waffle back and forth.
Yeah, for sure.
My mind. Okay, that's such.
I would also say too, with price points and all of that, one of the things that we do is we sell an online course, and the tickets are a bonus to that training. Okay, so that has worked out really well for us because a lot of times the people that show up are so invested in the content. They're just so ready to go. So it's an easier yes for them too. Now we do have people that have not gone through that course that will show up. Maybe they're guests of other people. They're winners of a contest that we've done. My speakers will sometimes do giveaways. Mm-hmm. So you just don't know. So there's very different people in the room, which is great, right? You want it to be diverse. So that's another way that's worked well for us because our clients already love the content. And now they're going, wait, this is a deeper, more intense version of it. I'm in.
Yeah. Do you find that people who haven't gone through the course are still able to get the same level amount? Okay. So it's not like, it's not a replication of the course. Okay.
Yeah. You wouldn't be in that room thinking, oh, I already learned this in module 3. Mm-hmm. Not at all. Yeah.
That's good because I've been to some live events where that's been the case, and you know, maybe most of the room has only gotten to module 2 and now they're like teaching module 6. I'm like, listen, I did my homework. Like, why am I getting?
And you're never going to hear us say like, I hope you watch module 7 because here's where we're going to dive in. No. Like this is fresh content. Yeah. It doesn't matter if you have not ever met me before, listened to my stuff before, bought anything of mine. Yeah. This is really just for anybody that's going, okay, I'm an online entrepreneur. I'm looking for that next level. This is the place to be.
Yeah. What are the biggest launch mistakes that either you've made or that you've seen other people make, or maybe just things that you don't like where you're like, oh, wouldn't do that?
Do you mean launching a live event or launching
a live event? So like putting on a live event or even being in the room.
Yes. So, that's such a good, I can think of like a million things right now. So first of all, I think when you launch, know that there needs to be like that content that we specifically talked about. So do your homework and go get those videos, those pictures. And you might have seen that tour of me walking around town. That tour would have been amazing for year 1 when I had nothing to show people, right? I wish I would have thought of that. And I didn't think of this year, but I wish somebody would have told me that 3 years ago, because there's got to be something tangible for us to see. I also think when you're doing these launches, don't expect people to buy right that second because they know it might be 6 months away or 12 months away. How many of you know you're going to an event coming up at some point, but you haven't bought your tickets yet? Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm going to raise my hand. Okay. I know I'm going to go someplace in July, but I haven't purchased that ticket.
Yeah.
It happens, right? So just know that there are people out there that are going to buy. They just haven't done it yet. Maybe they don't have the money. Maybe they're just waiting for something else to come out. Maybe they're waiting for a different date. Someone's getting married. They have to figure out that date before they can commit to you. So here's the thing. I am a big believer in that, bringing out that positive energy. People can feel your energy when you're talking about it. Okay. Don't start sounding desperate to fill this event because nobody's buying. You have to truly believe that you have something amazing to share. People like would be silly to not show up for it, and that you should have some, like, there should be a reason you're confident. you're already selling courses or you've already put on some meetups and those people are begging you to come to this event. So don't be overconfident and just jump in head first. I wish I would have started a little bit smaller than I did, but I kind of had that big vision of what this big event was going to be like. And I think I just jumped a little too soon, which is fine because it got me here and everything's going well. But if I could tell my old self 3 years ago, I would have said, start with a little workshop, build up that workshop, then do a bigger one and then do a bigger one from there. Just kind of work your way up to that. And I think that would help. Now, another thing that I want people to know too is it's a lot better to find places, I think, that are not hotels. Okay. The reason for that, okay, is a lot of times hotels require a food and beverage minimum, which will skyrocket what you have to do. Okay. A lot of them, if you decide you're going to have meals, you have to have it through them. You can't order it out. Whereas when we go to a different place, like let's just say right now, the place we're using is just a wedding venue. They don't have a hotel attached. You literally just pay this guy who owns the building. And we do whatever we want. We can bring in our own food, our own caterer, our own everything. There's no requirements. So be really careful when you go to book something. Okay. Another thing too is we were using what are those called? Co-working spaces. For our meetups. And a lot of times people were giving them to us for free because they wanted to advertise that, hey, if you're an entrepreneur and you need a place to work, we've got all these really great rooms. So they would let us use that space for the first time for free, check it out. And then ask your people, since they're local, say, hey, do you have any connections? We had one girl that's like, actually, I'm a designer and I designed this one restaurant and they're closed during the day. They're only like a dinner place. And she's like, I can get us in for free if we just ordered lunch.
Wow. That's awesome.
We just keep getting these really great connections and we're using restaurants and, some of these restaurants have private rooms that can hold between like 20 and 30 people. And then you just have them pay for their own lunch and it's not any expense on your own.
Yep. I used to co-host a Law of Attraction meetup and we used to meet in the back. They had a back room in Panera and you could rent it for just save the room for free. And they were like, great, you're going to eat Panera and you're just going to hang out in there. And it was so perfect. And then we ended up transitioning randomly to the upstairs like party room during a night of a movie theater, right? Like you never know, but like exactly what you said, you've got to ask around because you might be surprised. There are open spaces and a lot of times they don't care. They are like, sure, have it for free.
They're like, perfect. You're going to bring in 10 people for lunch. This sounds amazing, right? So I would say start small, go to some place like that, and then let yourself continually up level when the time is right versus renting this big room thinking I'm going to manifest 400 people, which is great. But what if you have this huge, like $10,000 expense and 20 people sign up your first time? So just be careful.
Well, that's a big thing too, that sometimes people, they overreach and then end up losing a lot of money on the live event because they're not clear about the insurance and all of these other things that are actually going into the cost of the event. And so I think that's such good advice, that start small and build it up so that you can actually profit on your live event. Yeah.
Well, and you don't want a room that fits 800 and then there's 40 of you at a table. You don't want that on your photos, on your videos. You want it to always feel like you're busting at the seams and this is just so amazing, right? So be careful with what you're doing, but obviously set yourself up for room for growth because you never know how many people you're going to get that first time either.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. These are so many great tips. I want to respect your time. So I would love for you to just quickly share, where can people go and learn more about the event? I'm going to be linking up and sharing with you guys my link for the live event since I am going to be speaking there. But any quick things about the event that you would like to share?
Yes. So it's basically 2.5 days. It's April 24th through the 26th. We do this a little differently. We actually kick it off on a Tuesday night and the event is Wednesday, Thursday.
Love it.
A lot of our audience loves going during the week when they're already working versus like taking up one of their weekends where they have maybe personal things going on. So our community has loved that. But we kick it off Tuesday evening on this amazing rooftop bar. You'll have to go look at the pictures on Instagram because they're so gorgeous. Downtown Milwaukee, where it's just this little meet and greet. Tailwind is sponsoring it. And it's just for us to get to know each other. So Wednesday, when you show up at registration to come for that day, you already have made a friend. You're already going to go hang out with somebody at that table. And you're going to just have your mind at ease knowing you've got people here that are going to be supportive, right?
Yep.
Then we have all day Wednesday, Thursday. in this gorgeous place. It's called the Black Swan, and it's this building from the 1800s. I'm a big believer in your environment can really inspire you to do incredible things. And I want everybody just to be in this beautiful space that really kind of gets your mind going, right? It really is just allows you to be creative. And for us, it's a lot of speaking and strategy and content, but it's also motivation and inspiring you, because sometimes this is what you need to kind of get your butt in gear to get back and get going, because we can lose that momentum throughout the year as we're going. So I think that's a big thing. It's a good mix between motivation and actually like, here's what you need to do to make this happen. Like, let's get to work. We do have time for Q&A with all of our speakers. We have time for workshopping, actually diving in deep when you're there. And lots of things in the evenings for us to continue to meet and network. So every single night, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, there's a place for you to go hang out with people, because that's the whole point of connecting.
So glad. That's awesome.
Yes.
I've been to so many events where it's kind of like you figure it out on your own. And like, especially if you go alone, it's like fingers crossed that you meet somebody that you connect with, who you can get dinner with.
Yeah.
So I think that's such an important piece of really making sure that that's built into the event.
Yeah. And you just don't know, are you going to go and meet somebody that you connect with and now you're going to be collaborators together? Are you going to go meet somebody who turns into be your client or your business bestie, or who knows what you're going to find there? But I just think you have to go with an intention. Yes. And really just know, like, what am I trying to do here? Am I trying to go for content? Am I trying to meet people? Am I trying to put on my own live event? So I want to go and observe what she's doing because she's done this 3 times. And now you're going to figure out what you liked and what you didn't like. And then you're going to put on your own amazing event.
Mm-hmm. And I love what you said before about, really going and getting that in-person connection, getting that momentum, because I used to spend, I would maybe go once or twice a year to a live event. And now I've committed to going almost monthly, because having that in-person connection, whether you have a podcast or, like you said, you're just trying to make business connections and meet new people, it's so important, you guys. So if you're not getting to live events regularly, either create a meetup of your own or get your butt in a room. It's so important to be present and to be meeting new people and expanding your network, because that's going to allow you to grow exponentially. Like, I can't even begin to explain how much my business has grown by just getting in front of more people, meeting more people, making those networking connections. It's just incredible.
Yeah. And like, would we be here together if we didn't meet at a live event? Probably not. I mean, maybe we might have been. It might have taken a little longer, but we may or may not be talking right now on Facebook Live together or having you speak at my live event.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like sitting in person next to somebody for 2 days and actually getting to be like, hey, what does your business look like? What do you do? What's your specialty? It's huge, guys. So, if you guys are interested in coming and hanging out with us at Stacy's live event, She's Building Her Empire, I'm going to link up the details for you guys below. And any last words, or where can people actually come and hang out with you?
Yeah. So I have a podcast, She's Building Her Empire. Definitely check that out. We do between 1 and 2 episodes every single week. And then Instagram is probably my favorite place to hang out. So definitely make sure to reach out to me on there as well. If you have any questions about the live event, feel free to check out the link that Jen is going to give you. But yeah, if you have any questions, just let us know. I'm just excited. And I hope to see some of you guys there.
I know. There's so many people that are listening to this right now. And I know that you guys live in like the Chicago, Wisconsin area, and you're waiting for an event that's not in California or New York. So this is your opportunity to come and hang out and connect. And I'm a huge introvert. So if you're afraid to come to a live event alone, just know that we're going to be best friends and we're going to hang out. It's going to be awesome. Amazing. Well, Stacy, thank you so much for coming on today. It was so amazing having you here. And I've taken some notes. I've learned a bunch about hosting a live event. So thank you for just sharing so abundantly.
Thank you. Well, thanks for having me. I'm so excited we connected, and I'm excited to see you in person in like 5 weeks.
I know. And then again, like a week after that.
2 weeks later, we're just, the power of in-person events, you guys.
That's it. All right. Thank you guys so much for being here, for listening in, and hopefully we will see you in person in a few weeks. All right. Thanks, guys. Bye.